Let's go ahead and talk about the October 21st, 2025 episode of NXT. Now we kick off the show with the first segment of the night where we see Tatum Paxley. She gets introduced and she is with Izzy Dame, Sean Spears, and Nico Vance, the Culling. So yeah, they come out there, and this is the go-home show for Halloween Havoc because Halloween Havoc will be this Saturday, and Tatum Paxley is the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. So yeah, she comes out there and she was talking about how great it was to become a number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, and how she's going after trying to win her first title, and how this is going to be her first PLE, and how it's so fitting that it's on the spookiest night of the year, Halloween Havoc. So yeah, that's what Tatum Paxley was talking about, how she eliminated 19 other women to become number one contender. But then all of a sudden, they get interrupted by the NXT Women's Champion, Jacy Jayne, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed, Fatal Influence. They come out there, and yeah, Jacy Jayne was talking about how much of a loser Tatum Paxley is and all that stuff, and how she's not going to become the NXT Women's Champion at Halloween Havoc. And then we see Tatum Paxley talking about how Jacy Jayne pretty much already won gold before when she came in with a dominant faction like Toxic Attraction and NXT and everything, and how it was expected of her to win gold once again, but she says that for herself, she never won gold, and how it will be great for her to win gold for the first time. So yeah, that's what Tatum Paxley was talking about, how, you know, she'll do it right alongside with her best friend Izzy Dame and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what she was talking about there. And then we see Fatal Influence talking about how Izzy Dame would turn on her and all that stuff and everything like that. And then Izzy Dame was talking about how fitting that is, considering what happened to pretty much Jasmine Nix a few weeks ago. So yeah, that's what they was talking about there. And then Fatal Influence had enough, and they tried to attack the Culling, but then the Culling started fighting back, knocking Fatal Influence out of the ring and saving themselves. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good segment. And later on tonight, they did set up a tag team match as well. Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame versus two members of Fatal Influence later on tonight. But then after that, we see Stax and Ariana Grace talking backstage. Ariana Grace apparently made her relationship public with Stax to Santino Marella and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what happened there. And they started walking away. And then Javon Evans and Leon Slater spots them. And then Leon Slater was talking about the tag team match and all that stuff. And then Javon Evans was talking about how he needs to be focused on whooping Stax's ass and all that stuff and retaining the TNA X Division Championship and all that. So yeah, that's what he was talking about there. But yeah, that match is later on tonight. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the first match of the night. It was TNA X Division Champion Leon Slater with Javon Evans at ringside versus Channing Stax Lorenzo with Ariana Grace at ringside in a one-on-one match for the TNA X Division Championship. We get to this match, and this match, it was pretty good. Javon Evans was being pretty entertaining at ringside, getting on commentary and everything at one point. And yeah, Stax was actually taking control of this match a lot of times in this one. And then at one point, Ariana Grace gets up on the ring apron, but then she gets knocked off the ring apron when Slater bounces off the ropes. So yeah, that's what happened there. But she got caught by Javon Evans, and then we see Stax not liking that. He gets out of the ring, Javon puts Ariana Grace down, and then, you know, we see Javon behind Ariana Grace and all that stuff, and then Stax finally got back into the ring, but then he starts getting beat down by Leon Slater. Leon Slater then jumped over the turnbuckles with a front flip senton onto Stax, and then he picks him up, throwing him into the ring. He climbs up the top turnbuckle and jumps off with the 450 Swanton Bomb. The Swanton Bomb 450 splash. So yeah, that's what happened there, and Leon Slater pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Leon Slater defeated Channing Stax Lorenzo tonight in a one-on-one match to retain the TNA X Division Championship. And then after the match ended, we see both of them grabbing the mics, Javon Evans and Leon Slater, and they started talking about how, you know, they're down to face any tag team at Halloween Havoc, and they say it could be from NXT, TNA, or the other company, and all of a sudden they get interrupted by Mr. Iguana and La Parca. So yeah, they get interrupted by them, and they pretty much announce and answer their challenge. So it looks like they will be having a tag team match at Halloween Havoc. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening there. But yeah, for that match between Stax and Leon Slater, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was pretty good. But yeah, up next it will be Zachary Wentz versus Jasper Troy 1-on-1 up next in the tournament of the Speed Championship. So yeah, that match will be up next on NXT. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Jasper Troy versus Zachary Wentz 1-on-1 in the tournament for the Speed Championship for the men's side. So yeah, we get to this match, and Zachary Wentz, he was doing pretty well up against Jasper Troy, taking him down and everything, hitting a swanton bomb off the top turnbuckle, pinning him, but then Jasper kicks out at 2, and then Jasper starts fighting back and everything, countering Zachary Wentz's finisher move, and then he manages to hit the Black Hole Slam onto Zachary Wentz, pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, Jasper Troy defeated Zachary Wentz tonight in a 1-on-1 match. That's what happened there for that match. I'll give it 1 star, that's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. And he defeated him with 55 seconds left on the clock. And then after that, we see Kelani Georgia walk into the NXT women's locker room, but then they threw her stuff out and everything, kicking her out the locker room, and that's what all the women did because Kelani Georgia betrayed NXT for TNA. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then we see Jordan Grace coming up trying to talk to Kelani Georgia and everything, and Kelani Georgia's all upset at Jordan Grace. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see the Hardy Boys with a promo package, and they are broken once again, and they got broken rules match against Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships this Saturday at Halloween Havoc. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening there. But up next, we're going to be hearing from Sol Ruca up next on NXT. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the next segment of the night where we see the NXT General Manager Ava. She introduces the NXT Women's North America Champion and the Women's Speed Champion, Sol Ruca and Zarya. They both come out there. And yeah, Sol Ruca, she is injured. Her leg is injured after what happened on SmackDown. So yeah, apparently she got injured during that tag team match where she took on with Zarya taking on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the Women's Tag Team Championship. So yeah, that's how she got injured. And it looks like that she'll possibly have to be relinquishing the NXT Women's North America Championship. And they said that they will talk about the Women's Speed Championship some other time. And then all of a sudden we see Blake Monroe coming out there. And Blake Monroe was pretty much saying that, you know, the title should be given to her because she's originally supposed to be facing Sol Ruca for the NXT Women's North America Championship at Halloween Havoc, but now Sol Ruca can't compete, so now she deserves to get the title handed over to her. And Zarya was talking about how nobody does handouts at NXT and all that, so yeah, that's what she was saying there. And then she actually looked and said, how about she competes for the NXT Women's North America Championship? And then Sol Ruca actually says that she will be fine with that, so Ava makes the match official that it will be Zarya versus Blake Monroe for the NXT Women's North America Championship at Halloween Havoc. And then Blake Monroe was not too happy about that, and then she's starting to argue with Ava. She's face to face with her, and then all of a sudden that's when Zarya turns Blake Monroe around, picks her up on shoulders, hitting an F5 onto her, laying her out. So yeah, that's what happened there. And Zarya grabs the NXT Women's North American Championship away from Sol Ruca, holding it up above Blake Monroe. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good segment, but yeah, the match is now made official for Halloween Havoc. But yeah, up next it'll be Axiom versus Shawn Legacy 1-on-1 up next on NXT. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Axiom versus Shawn Legacy in a 1-on-1 match in this tournament for the Men's Speed Championship to become number 1 contender. So yeah, we get to this match, and this match, it was pretty good. It was back and forth and everything, quick pace and everything. As soon as the bell rang, we see Axiom try to go after Shawn Legacy, and then Legacy was countering a lot of Axiom's moves. At one point, we see Legacy try a springboard 450 splash, but he got caught into like a crawl space by Axiom, and then both guys kept on going at it back and forth, coming up near falls like a couple of times that Shawn Legacy was going to be picking up the win. But then at one point we see Axiom and Shawn Legacy out there on the top turnbuckle, and then Axiom manages to hit the Spanish Fly onto Shawn Legacy, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Axiom defeated Shawn Legacy tonight to advance to the finals of the Men's Speed Championship tournament. So yeah, he'll be taking on Jasper Troy pretty soon. So yeah, that's what happened there. Really good match. So I'll give that match, I'll give it 2.5 stars as well. I'll give it a quick and fast pace and everything. It was pretty good. And they only had like about 5 seconds left. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match. And then after that, we see Ethan Page sending a message out to Dr. Wagner Jr. and everything heading into their match for the NXT North America Championship at Halloween Havoc. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, up next we're going to be seeing Hank and Tank taking on OTM up next in a tag team match on NXT. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Hank Walker and Tank Ledger versus Bronco Nima and Lucius Price. OTM in a tag team match. We get to this match, and then we see Hank and Tank quickly taking out OTM to start off the match outside of the ring, and they're beating the hell out of him, but then OTM starts coming back. They knock Hank out of the ring, and they hit their tag team finish move on the Tank, pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, OTM defeated Hank Walker and Tank Ledger tonight in a tag team match, and then they picked up Tank, throwing him out of the ring, and then they started clearing off the announce tables, and then we see them grab the steel steps, hitting Hank upside the head and laying him out, and then they both picked up Tank, slamming him through the announce table. So yeah, OTM lays out Hank and Tank after they defeated them tonight on NXT in the tag team match. So yeah, for that match, I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give the match and what happened after the match. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Ren Sinclair talking to Charlie Dempsey on the phone and everything. He was talking about how he's having a great time down there in Japan and all that stuff. And then Lash Legend interrupts her and all that stuff. And then she says, "I thought you wasn't going to do nothing stupid." And then Ren was talking about how she's going to have a celebration for Charlie Dempsey and everything when he comes back. And then we see Kendall Gray coming up, pretty much standing up for Ren Sinclair from Lash Legend and all that stuff. So yeah, that was beefing as well. So yeah, that's what happened there. But up next, it'll be the tag team match. It'll be Fatal Influence versus the Culling up next in a tag team match. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame, the Culling versus the NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley, or Lainey Reed, one of the two. Oh, Lainey Reed in a tag team match with Fallon Henley at ringside. Fatal Influence in a tag team match. So yeah, we get to this match, and this match, it was pretty good for the most part. Fatal Influence doing pretty well up against the Culling, and the Culling was fighting back. A lot of times in this match, it was back and forth and everything, but then at the ending, we actually see Tatum Paxley setting up for a finisher move onto Jacy Jayne, and then Fallon Henley gets up on the ring apron, and then we see Izzy Dame knocking Fallon off the ring apron, but then she was hitting the ropes, so tried their tag team finish move onto Jacy, but then Lainey Reed pulls Izzy Dame out of the ring, and then that's when Jacy Jayne fought out of the move from Tatum Paxley, manages to hit the discus forearm on her, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Fatal Influence defeated the Culling tonight in a tag team match. But then after the match, we see the Fatal Influence surrounding Tatum Paxley, and they're about to attack her. But then Tatum Paxley manages to fight all 3 of them off, laying them all 3 out, and actually holding up the NXT Women's Championship. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match. What happened after the match was pretty decent stuff. For all that stuff, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there going into Halloween Havoc. But up next, we're going to be seeing a contract signing between Ricky Sainz and Trick Williams up next on NXT. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the final segment of the night where we see the NXT General Manager Ava. She is inside the ring and she introduces Trick Williams and the NXT Champion Ricky Sainz to the ring because they are doing a contract signing for their match at Halloween Havoc. So yeah, we get to this contract signing. They both sign the contract, so yeah, the match becomes official and everything, and then they both start cutting promos and all that stuff. And Trick Williams was pretty much talking about, about how he didn't have to come up from the indies and all that stuff, and how, Ricky Sainz had come up from the indies and all that, and how he pretty much won't become nothing at Halloween Havoc when he wins back the NXT Championship. And then Ricky Sainz was talking about how he's all with his emotions on his shoulders and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Ricky Sainz was talking about there. But then he says that he's actually complacent as champion, while pretty much Trick Williams lost his mind when he was champion. And he says that, if he wins the championship once again, he's going to lose his damn mind again. And then he was talking about the independent scene and all that stuff, and he says that he grinded his way through the independent scene to get to NXT, to get where he's at, and how he got has way more experience than Trick Williams and all that, and that he's going to beat him this Saturday at Halloween Havoc. And then that's what happened there, and both guys get face to face, about to brawl, and then security's trying to hold him back, but then Trick punches Ricky Saints, and then both guys starts beating down the security, laying them out, and then Ricky Saints slams Trick Williams through the table, laying him out. He starts holding up the NXT Championship. So yeah, that was the ending of NXT right there. And yeah, pretty good segment there. But yeah, for match of the night, I probably gotta say it was probably Axiom and Shawn Legacy, or Leon Slater and Stack. So yeah, those matches were pretty good. But yeah, for tonight's NXT, I'll give it 8 stars as well. I'll give it. But yeah, that's been my WWE NXT reviews. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris McDaniels, and follow me on all my social media accounts. I'll be down there in the description box, and I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite reviews. See you guys later. Till then.